Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Josh Hose Show. I'm your host, Lexi Goff, and here with me today is the head coach of the Massillon Tigers, Josh Hose. We want to thank our sponsor, Reliable Heating and Cooling. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
The Tigers have now completed their regular season schedule with an 8-14 record. Since our last show, the Tigers have posted a 2-3 mark. Their last regular season game was a loss to Strasburg last Thursday night. Coach, tell us more about that game.
Strasburg game, end of the regular season, we knew that was going to be a tough game because they called us for a schedule. Once we lost the Worcester game to start the season, they contacted us, and we knew they were a senior oriented team, and they had a lot of experience, a lot of success the last couple of years. And the coach told me, he said he wanted to use us as a tournament prep for them. So going into it, when we scheduled it, we were at full strength. We thought, this game we definitely were the favorite in. Going into it the way we were, we knew it was going to be a struggle to get the W, and had to play really well. And our kids did. We came back. We had a 2-point game. We were down, I think, at 14 at one point. Came back, cut it to 2 inside of a minute. The kids fought like heck to get back there, and it was a tough loss, but at the same time, I saw a fight in our kids that, a bunch of young kids that don't have the experience that they did, that are trying to figure things out, where they're a team that has known how to win. And so I saw a lot of good things in that loss, if you can say there are good things in a loss. But it's, it kind of prepped us to also to play Dover tonight. We have a tournament game with them, and they play a very similar style.
Your team has gone through a lot of changes this season. How have they handled those issues?
The team's done great. I mean, really, it's been tough on them. It's been tough on the coaches. We've kind of had to do a lot of changing, a lot of shuffling things around. But I will say that probably has been the toughest on the kids that are out. I mean, the kids that are out, it's really difficult to handle that. If you're an athlete, you're a competitor, you want to play, and when your team's out there playing and you're not able to help them out, that's really hard to deal with. Our kids has just been kind of that next man up mentality. They just step up. They come in every day to practice. They're not hanging their heads. They're not going into games thinking, oh man, how are we going to win this or how are we going to compete? They just, they take the next challenge, and I'm really proud. I told them that after the game. I'm really proud of them. I told them that last night after practice about how they've handled all this year. They've had a lot thrown at them, and every week it's been something new. Even this week, we've had a little bit of something. The kids are just take it in stride, and they come up the next day and they come ready to play. So I'm really proud of them for that.
Let's talk about the injuries a little more. Any updates on the status of your injured Tigers?
No status. Nobody, knock on wood, nobody else added to the injured list, but then nobody's coming off of it. We're pretty much the team we're going to be right now, and that's been kind of refreshing because we didn't have to change a whole lot this week with our rotations. Got some key guys out, but at the same time, when you've had a chance to adjust to some different roles, it gives you an opportunity to let guys flourish in those roles, where we just haven't had that opportunity to really let kids settle into a role, because once they do, something else changes. To give an example, Jaden Stock, who was on here a couple weeks ago, he came off the bench to start the year as our sixth man, and now he's our leading scorer the last 5 or 6 games, and kind of one of our kids that plays probably the most minutes on the court. And his role has totally shifted since the beginning of the year. So, but he's a junior coming back next year. It's going to be a really good experience for him to come back and lead this team next year as a senior.
In the last couple of weeks, in what areas have you seen the most improvement?
I would say the biggest thing I've seen, and I tell our kids all the time, is at the beginning of the year when we get down, I felt like we'd let down. I don't want to use the word quit, but we just would kind of like give up on ourselves at times, get down easily, and then let a 5-point deficit become 25. And so now if we get down 14, and it's happened several times the last couple of weeks, 12, 14 points, we'll cut it back. We'll fight back. Sometimes we can't get over the hump, sometimes we can. But I've seen a fight in our team, and I've heard that from a lot of people. I was just talking to a coach this morning that in our building that just saw us. He's like, man, I just love the way your kids hustle and fly around. So, we talked to the kids, when we're struggling to score, we got to create some energy and create some points off the defense. And I think that's the biggest thing. I've seen a lot of improvement there. Offensively, we're moving the ball better. So all the things we're preaching is getting better. We're not seeing the rewards for that. That growth yet, but I think it's going to come, maybe tonight. I hope tonight. If not, down the road, next year, I definitely know that those things will pay off for us and the kids that are, kind of, putting that work in right now.
As you prepare to enter tournament play, what concerns you the most about your team?
I think the biggest concern for me is just going into a tough environment with a young group. How they're going to react. Like, at the start of the game. You know what I mean? You want to come in and you want to have your best energy right off the start and have a really good start to help yourself get kind of ahead, because we've had a tendency to fall behind early. So I just think this is the type of team, if you fall behind, they're going to take the air out of the ball and really shorten the game up. So I think my biggest concern is that we come out and get off to a good start and don't get ourselves in a hole like we've had the last couple games, and that we don't have to use so much energy to try to fight out of the, from behind, and that we can just come in and play even or get ahead of them a little bit and kind of play our game that way and not have to change the way style we're playing to adjust to a big deficit.
We'll talk more with Coach Hose, and we'll visit with a Tiger player in a moment. But first, this word from Reliable Heating and Cooling.
Everything that goes into a Lennox system is engineered for absolute comfort. Like the parts that create your perfect temperature and humidity, or the parts that purify the air. Together, all these parts save you up to half off your heating and cooling bills. And there are few things more comforting than that.
The future of home comfort is here now at Reliable Heating and Cooling. Get the latest innovation and technology at Reliable. Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Thanks to Reliable Heating and Cooling, and welcome back to the Josh Hose Show. The Tiger player joining us this week is Andrew Wilson Lamp. Andrew, who influenced you the most growing up when it comes to basketball?
Probably Russell Westbrook. The energy he brings is just unmatched. Nobody else can match his energy, and he does it all the time, and I really look up to that.
How would you describe your game, and how does it fit in with the team?
I play with a lot of energy, and I play a lot of defense. I take pride in guarding the best players on the team and trying to hold them to the least amount of points I can.
What did you work on the most in the off-season to improve your game?
Probably my quickness and my agility. I need to be able to flip my hips if I want to play defense good. So I worked on that a lot, just being able to move on my feet quick.
There have been a lot of changes on this team since the season started. How do you think everyone has handled those changes?
I think we've handled it well. Coach Hose always talks to us about handling adversity, and right now we've been handed a lot. Season's not going the way we wanted. We got a lot of players injured, so we just come in and fight every day at practice, get better either way.
And finally, what can you tell us about your opponent tonight, the Dover Tornadoes?
They're a good team. They're gonna try and play half court with us, but I think we can speed them up and beat them in our game.
Thanks, Andrew. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Coach, tell us more about Andrew, both on and off the court.
Well, I think you can tell right there with his answer. He's a great kid, great young man, and he's just super good athlete. Just watch him play football during the fall. Didn't get to see him much this summer, getting hired in late, and we missed an opportunity to get some guys in the gym. So met him one day in the fall in the gym and liked him right away. And so then it helped that he's 6'2", and I saw him in there dunking, and I was like, okay, this kid's got some athleticism. But then I talked to him, and he's just got a great personality. He's very engaging, and he's a great teammate. So I'm excited to have him for 2 more years. Like he said, I think his defensive energy is something that we can really build around, but he also has a nice offensive game too that he's constantly developing. So, and I think he's still going to grow. I look at the kid; he's got a frame, and I think he's going to get bigger and stronger. And I hope a lot of our young guys do. But I think there's a high ceiling for him. We have high expectations and just hopes for him, and I know he has high expectations and goals for himself as well.
The Tigers open tournament play at Dover tonight. How about a scouting report on the Tornadoes?
Well, I think Andrew hit on the head. Dover, they're 20-2, very good team. They play down south in the conference that we don't know a lot of those teams, but they just recently played North Canton Hoover and beat them in a close game. And they want to play in a slower pace half-court game. That's kind of their style. We're hoping to, maybe take them out of that a little bit because they're really good at what they do. They run a lot of what they call set plays, and they screen a lot, and they really have some good shooters out there. They try to get shots for and get them open. And they do some really cool stuff to do that, to get those guys open. But Coach has been there for 20-some years. I think when I was in high school, he was down there. And so those kids, they know that system really well. So, yeah, we're going to try to do some things differently to play to our strengths and then try to take them away from some of the things they do really well. But they're a good team for a reason, so we're going to have to play a really good game, like I said earlier, get off to a good start. But one thing I know about our kids, and Andrew said it, is the adversity they face this year, they're very resilient. And so whatever happens to start the game, I know they're going to fight to the last buzz, and the last horn, I should say. And I think that it's going to be a great game between two good teams to start tournament play. It's going to be a good atmosphere. It's a great opportunity for our young guys to go in there and show, like we talked about earlier, how much they've grown and developed as a team. And they seem to be embracing the challenge of going into a road game here and against a quality opponent.
When it comes to the tournament, the intensity level goes way up. How are you and your coaches preparing the team for that moment?
I can't say we've done anything differently. I mean, we've talked to them about it. Yesterday we were talking about the physical play. We're looking to do some things differently because of the opponent we're having. But tournament play, the kids seem to know that it's a bigger stage, so they're dialed in. We practiced. We actually took a day off on Friday after our last game because we had I think 7 games in 13 days. So we just didn't have any days off, and I know I had the flu bug. A bunch of the kids were hacking and coughing. So day off, refresh, come back in. Saturday, good practice. Sunday, we had another day off, kind of get the batteries charged up again. And we've had 2 good days of practice. Kids have gotten after it, and a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. So I think, the kids have prepped themselves better. We haven't really had to do a whole lot. They're ready to go. I've coached before when you have a team that seems like they're ready for the season to be over with. I don't get that feeling from this team. They're in the locker room hanging out after practice, still laughing and having a good time. So I think the energy's great. I think the attitudes have been great. And again, despite everything they've been through, these kids have just keep showing up and keep being resilient. And I know that's going to pay off for them.
And finally, as you look at this year's Canton Sectional District Tournament, what might Stark County basketball fans watch for?
Oh, I think it's a wide open district. It really, the sectionals and the districts are very interesting matchups. There's going to be a lot of games tonight with a lot of the teams in the Federal League playing each other. It's the 3rd time they've played each other. We were at a coaches meeting Sunday. We were at a coaches meeting, and you just saw a lot of the coaches were talking. You could see there was intense conversations going on. There's a lot of tension there because of the fact that they're playing each other for the 3rd time. They know each other so well. That's where we're kind of unique. We don't have that. We're playing 2 teams that we don't really know. We haven't seen them. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how things play out because there's a lot of teams I think they could. Dover's the 6th seed, and they're 20-2. I think the 3 seed is Boardman. It's also in our bracket, and they're I think they ended up 19-3 or 18-4. So 2 good teams right there, but they're not the top seeds. So it's just going to be interesting to see how things shake out, and the grand scheme of things. Our focus really has been that one bracket with us with Dover, and so we know as the underdog, as the lower seed, we got to focus there and come out and try to put a great effort together and pull off the upset. And like I said, I think our kids believe they can do it. I know the coaches, we can believe if we do the things we're capable of doing, we have a chance to knock them off. And that's all you can hope for is a chance and the right attitude. So we're excited to see how things shake out.
Thanks, Coach. As we wrap up this edition of the Josh Ho Show, we want to thank Reliable Heating and Cooling for sponsoring our program. And thanks to Coach Hose and Andrew Wilson-Lamp for joining us. I'm your host, Lexi Goff. Thanks for watching, and always, go Tigers.
Massillon City Schools is proud to have one of the top career technical education programs in the state of Ohio, recently receiving a #1 ranking of the 93 districts in the area of achievement. Our Career Technical Education Department offers 14 pathways preparing students for college and careers. All students have the opportunity to participate and compete in their career technical student organization, as well as obtain valuable experience in the field while earning aligned industry credentials and/or college credit in high school. Visit massillonschools.org for more information.